Thank you for having me, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests. I'm going to talk about the idea of cradle-to-cradle oceans. And what I mean by that is the idea of thinking of human interactions with the oceans as something that relates from the beginning to the end, to the beginning to the end, and it's endless, cradle to cradle. Now, my ancestors are Irish, and in ancient Ireland, the salmon was the most sacred of creatures because it was born in the rivers, it went out to sea, and it returned to where it was born, cradle to cradle. And this idea that things are born on land and go to sea and come back is a part of the theme of this, because I've been asked to talk about a strategy for how to deal with plastics for 7 billion people for the coming centuries. That is what I'm about to talk about. Now, this is a carbon question because for climate change, we worry about carbon in the atmosphere gone fugitive, and it becomes a liability. It's a toxin. A material in the wrong place at the wrong dose and the wrong duration is a poison. We also see that because of climate change, the atmosphere is now contaminating the oceans with acidification. But there's another one. It is carbon in the form of a durable solid, plastics, in the ocean. This is carbon too, and this is what we do. So if design, and that's what I do, I'm a designer, if design is the first signal of human intention, what is our intention? Do we intend to put millions of pounds of plastic in the ocean every year? Is that our plan? If that's not our plan, it's become our de facto plan because it's the thing that's happening because we have no other plan. So where's the plan? So how do we do this as a designer? Well, we have to start with who we are and how we think and how we behave. And it starts here at the beginning of plastics in society. This is 1955, Life magazine, the cover story. Throwaway living, disposable items cut down household chores. Poof, welcome to the age of plastics. It's the graduate, plastics. And we used to throw things away, throw away culture. Where is away? Can somebody tell me where that is? Away has gone away. When we saw the Earth from outer space, we realized this is home. There is no away. So what we've done with Cradle to Cradle is realize there's two cycles and metabolisms that humans can interact with. One is the biological system, and that has waste equals food. One thing's waste is another thing's food. We eliminate the concept of waste. This isn't minimize, avoid, it's eliminate the concept of waste. If we do that with the things that humans make, we've been, ever since we started banging on metal, we've created a technical metabolism of things that we use, but the problem is we use them and then we throw them away. Where is away? And then we also talk about the life cycle of things. We say, what's the life cycle of this television set? Well, it's not a living thing. We should talk about it as a use cycle. When I finish with the use, what's the next use? These are objects of human artifice for human usefulness. The plastics are to be used. And why are the students so upset about single-use plastic? Why? Single use? Really? So, one of the big questions when plastic bags arrived in the United States was paper or plastic? Which is better? So they did the first famous life cycle assessment. Paper versus plastic. And they concluded that you couldn't compare chlorine in trees and rivers with hydrocarbons converted into polymer from an ecological effect. So they decided that plastic is better because it uses less space. Because in the end, in the United States, it will go to a landfill. And therefore, if it takes less space, that's better. That's how we decided it in our country. But how do we decide it for the planet? Paper or plastic? Same question. This one, plastic or planet. So what does the turtle think? When is the last time you saw a sea turtle being strangled by a paper bag? If we think about the nature of the plastic and what it means to be marine degradable, as well as what it means to be usable, we realize we've moved from this set of words that we used to use. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Fine. Reduce, reuse, recycle. But now, and we're developing this with the European Commission. The terms are reusable, recyclable, compostable. And so I work with big companies. I work with Walmart. I work with Unilever. We're developing reusable, recyclable, compostable strategies. The problem is it recoverable? Just because it's recyclable, do we get it back? That bag the turtle was wrestling with is recyclable, but guess what? It's a material in the wrong place, at the wrong dose, and the wrong duration. That is, by definition, a toxin. So, if we look at the United States, this is the garbage in the United States. Here are the flows. These are the technical materials. These are the biological materials. Do they go back to nature? Do they go back to industry? No. They get discarded. They either go to landfills or incinerators. That is what happens. Wrong materials, wrong place, wrong dose, wrong duration. So I think we need a new language of plastics. And so today, I'm so excited to be here because this is an organization and an event. And why are we here? We're here to talk about how to design for 7 billion people. For generations and centuries. What a fantastic framework of question for the work. So this is the language of plastic today. We have 7 main types of plastic, but what we're forgetting is that polyvinyl chloride, when burned, produces cancer, or in pyrolysis systems, produces hydrochloric acid and corrodes all the equipment. That must go. That has to go. Then what else? We have new biodegradable materials coming, and we don't even know what to do with them, or how to integrate them into existing systems. If we look at design, my world, look at this. These are the 25 award-winning packages. Not one is recyclable, reusable, or compostable. Not one. So the design community has some work to do. This is New York City's garbage. Surprise, surprise. Look at the bright, big pink bars. Which were the big ones? Shopping bags and plastic films. So this isn't about recycle your bottle. Look at this. The bottles are up there. Look at this. This is what we do. So this is in Chile, and they're training the rag pickers to pick the different types of plastic, but only one, that red one there, PET, makes any money selling plastic. So they're doing their best to sort them, and they've actually developed recyclability indexes that we're working with them on. And it shows that the materials are not recyclable. They're just not. And so we end up, especially when we think of Indonesia, or Thailand, or China right now, we end up with this. We end up with this. Durable, carbon, gone fugitive. And what are we supposed to do with it? It's an undefined system. So it seems very clear. We can recycle, mechanically, tear it up, put it back together, bottles, polyethylene terephthalate. The rest of this stuff, polystyrene, polypropylene, polyethylenes, we can chemically recycle them. Let's take it all together. Let's take it back to oil. Take it back to the source. Bring it back up the river. Take it back to where it was born. Get it out of the ocean. And on land, we can do the same. So this means we chemically recycle it. It's a term you will learn and learn to love. We can take it back to core. And then paper and cellulosics and so on, we can use those safely for paper. We can make things with them that are safe. And what happens, we mechanically recycle the polyesters, we chemically recycle all the other junk, and then we take the things that we can use to heal the soil, and we heal the soil. Oil comes from soil. It's ancient soil, time and pressure, ancient soil. We bring it back up to the surface, and we convert oil to soil. Think about this. This is a purification ritual for the planet. Now, we're here at a government summit, so what are the politics of this? Look, these are the bag bans in the world. Imagine. People are banning plastic bags. What is that? What is that instinct? Chile just came along, so on. But look at this. This is the United States. The black states, ready? We have banned bans. In those states, it's like very childish to think about it. It's ban, ban. We have banned bans. The states have said, no banning our plastic bags. We love our plastic bags. Well, of course we love plastic bags. They're light, they work really well, and so on. But only if they're designed in coherent systems of reuse do they make any sense. And today it's gotten even more complicated because look at this. That's a biodegradable bag, but so is that. BASF is now created 100% compostable. We've done the science on it. Down to hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, all the way. But we have people talking about biodegradable bags that break down into microplastics. They're biodegradable, but they're not compostable. We want to heal the soil all the way, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. And then we have technical bags, and they're very confusing. Everybody's confused. What kind of bags? So this protocol we're talking about will solve for this. Now, people are worried about the oceans. Of course we are. And we see these gyres since Charles Moore, 15 years ago, went out and found 6 times as much plastic as plankton in the Pacific Gyre. The next year, he found 80 times as much plastic as plankton in the Pacific Gyre. And here we are, almost 2 decades later, saying, oh my goodness, it's piled up and it's huge, and it is. And there are 5 of them. But look at this. 40% of these plastics come from rivers. Of those rivers, 90% of it comes from those 10 rivers. So what we're looking at and proposing and developing the resources for is to go after those 10 rivers and go to the mouths of the rivers and collect it there, because we can only go where it concentrates and we can move it. Otherwise, we can't provide value. Let's cut it off before it gets to the ocean while we try and clean up the ocean. And then let's move upland into the countries and try and help everybody in the world redesign plastics and flow. So where's the plastic coming from? China, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Egypt, Malaysia. Look, we go there. We start there. We go to these rivers. We go to the mouths of the rivers. We cut it off. You stop the bleeding into the oceans while we work on the oceans. And we have island strategies, we have harbor strategies, river strategies, coastline strategies. We start here. And what do? We take whatever being collected in the ocean, but it's contaminated with chlorine, barnacles, and all kinds of things. Let's bring it in. It's very tough. You can't really manage it, but we'll do it. We can get that. And then we take it from the land, too, because if we don't take the land side, we don't solve the problem. And that's where the bulk of it is. And we need the bulk to dilute the ocean plastics because they're a contaminant. We need to put them in about 2 or 3%, and then we can handle them like that. So we need to heal the land in order to heal the sea. We want to use the sea to heal the land to heal the sea. This is what it means to be cradle to cradle. And just this last slide, this is new. This just came out. Scientists have been analyzing the future of the plastics, and we've been looking at it. Look at this. Here we are today. 98% of plastics in the world are made from fossil sources. 98%. Look what we can do by 2050. By 2050, the scope of work here, with governments doing this, your government and the government of America could say, this is where we're going. Look, we think that 70% of the bio-based polymers can be made from actual carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. 30% can be made from biological sources without damaging our food systems. But this giant piece of it will be done from recycling the old polymers into new, refreshed oil, basically. We purify it. We take out the poisons, and we purify it, and we start over again. We hit the reset button, and that's what it looks like. So the design assignment is like Emerson said when asked, what is nature? He said, nature is all those things that are too big for humans to affect, to change. His examples were the oceans, the mountains, the leaves, the air. Welcome to the first industrial revolution. That didn't work. We can affect the oceans, we can affect the mountains, we can affect the air. So it's time for a new design. Let the mountains inspire the land and the oceans. Let the oceans inspire the land. Let us breathe clean air. And let's get to work, because this is going to take a really long time. But it's about that. So that is the point. Thank you.